Have you ever wondered how a chat GPT prompt, an AI image, or even a YouTube video actually travels across the world? Most people assume that it's satellites or Wi Fi, but that's not what carries the internet. It's glass, and not even ordinary glass, but strands of optical fiber thinner than a human hair. And for decades, the world's biggest fiber optic projects stretched thousands of miles beneath the ocean floor, connecting continents with pulses of light. Those underwater cables connected countries, businesses, families, and eventually they connected artificial intelligence. But something has changed. The next generation of the world's most demanding fiber networks aren't being built beneath the oceans. They're being built inside AI factories or data centers. One single large AI factory campus can contain well over 1,200 miles of optical fiber. That's enough fiber optics to stretch from New York City to Miami. And almost every inch of it never leaves the campus. Why? Because AI doesn't move on roads, it moves on light. So today we're going to build another piece of the AI factory, the fiber optics networking. Now, when most people think about the internet, they imagine invisible signals flying through the air, Wi Fi, 5G, satellites, but that's only the final few feet. Nearly everything else travels through fiber optic cables inside those tiny strands of glass. Information isn't moving as electricity, it's moving as light. Tiny pulses of laser light traveling at nearly the speed of light and bouncing through the glass, carrying everything from emails to Netflix to chat GPT conversations and to even YouTube TV. And without fiber, the modern internet simply would not exist. And that's been true for decades. But something new is happening. Artificial intelligence isn't just using the internet anymore, it's demanding an entirely new network, not between cities or countries, but inside massive AI factories. The AI revolution isn't just about chips. It's about moving information faster than ever before. Because before AI can think, it has to communicate. And that single idea explains why some of the world's largest technology companies are suddenly investing billions into fiber optic infrastructure. But before we talk about Corning or NVIDIA, you first need to understand why AI needs so much fiber in the first place. Now, think about how the internet used to work. You typed a search, a server answered. The conversation was simple: one person, one server, back and forth. This is the old internet. User, server, user. One request, one response. Artificial intelligence works completely different. Today's AI models are trained on enormous clusters containing thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands of GPUs. And those GPUs never stop talking to each other. Every calculation, every prediction, every AI generated image requires GPUs to constantly exchange information. And this is east west traffic. Instead of information moving from you to a server and back, the information is constantly moving GPU to GPU, rack to rack, switch to switch, storage to compute every second. Now imagine trying to have a conversation with 100,000 people all at the exact same time. That's exactly what an AI factory is doing. Every delay, every bottleneck, every fraction of a second slows down the entire system. And that's why networking has become one of the biggest bottlenecks in artificial intelligence, because GPUs are incredibly fast, but they're only as fast as the information that they receive. And that's where fiber optics becomes critical. Without enough bandwidth, the world's most powerful GPUs sit idle, and idle GPUs don't make money. So when we think about the internet, we usually think about connecting cities or countries. But AI factories are building something completely different. They're building an internet inside one campus, and it's not for people, it's for the machines. Every building, every data hall, every server room is connected by fiber optics. Then inside each building, those fiber optics bundles split again until eventually they connect thousands of GPU racks. One AI factory campus can contain thousands of GPU racks. One AI factory campus can contain thousands of GPU racks, hundreds of networking switches, and well over 1,200 miles of optical fiber, enough to stretch from New York City to Miami, and almost all of it never leaves the campus or the data center. Think about that. For decades, the biggest fiber optic projects crossed oceans. But today, one AI campus can require an astonishing amount of fiber optics just to keep its GPUs talking to one another. Because in an AI factory, communication is everything. So 1,200 miles of fiber optics might start at the distribution rooms and then go through the data center buildings connected by high capacity fiber backbone into the server halls. Fiber runs to every hall and every row. To the GPU racks, fiber connects thousands of GPUs at light speed. One network, zero room for being slow. So if fiber optics was so much better, why didn't we always use it? Because for decades, copper worked just fine. Homes, offices, traditional data centers, copper carried information using electricity, but AI changed the rules. Copper has four major issues. It loses signal over longer distances. It generates a ton of heat. It carries less bandwidth. And it consumes more power. Fiber solves every one of those problems. Instead of electricity, fiber sends information using light. And the light overcomes limitations. No heat generation, travels further without degradation, massive bandwidth capacity, and minimal signal loss. Copper doesn't just slow the signal down, it adds heat to a room that's already fighting to keep thousands of GPUs alive and cooled at the same time. In an AI factory, heat is the enemy. Latency is the enemy. Downtime is the enemy. And because one slow connection doesn't just slow one server, it can slow an entire AI cluster. And when that happens, billions of dollars worth of GPUs sit waiting, not because they're too slow, but because the network can't feed them data fast enough. And that single idea explains why some of the world's largest technology companies are suddenly investing billions of dollars into fiber infrastructure. This isn't about replacing the internet, it's about building the next internet, an internet where AI talks to AI, where thousands of GPUs communicate millions of times every second. Every AI breakthrough starts with communication. Before a model can reason, before it can generate video, before it can answer your question, information has to move. Without networking, the world's fastest GPUs become the world's most expensive paperweights. So the question becomes, who builds all this? Who supplies one of the most important technologies powering AI today? And the answer starts with a company most people know for making glass. For nearly 175 years, one company has quietly helped shape the modern world and helped pioneer electric lighting. It transformed laboratory science, as you can see here in 1915. It created Gorilla Glass for the iPhone. And today, it's helping build one of the most important pieces of artificial intelligence. And that company is Corning. Most people still think of Corning as a glass company, but Wall Street doesn't anymore. Today, Corning is increasingly being viewed as AI infrastructure. Because before AI can think, and before GPUs can communicate, before AI factories can scale, someone has to build the hidden network, and Corning sits at the very center of it.
Corning are pairing up on a huge announcement today that could totally flip the script for the AI build-out. Corning is building 3 new factories entirely devoted to products for NVIDIA in North Carolina and Texas. And while Corning and NVIDIA didn't share many specifics, it's likely the deal is worth tens of billions of dollars. This could be the big deal many analysts have been waiting for, the debut of a new technology called co-packaged optics. It could eventually mean NVIDIA replaces the 5,000 copper cables 2 miles worth inside its rack scale systems like Vera Rubin with tiny glass fibers made by Corning, something that until now has never been accomplished at scale. Co-packaged optics would vastly reduce the energy needs of an AI data center because glass is far more energy efficient than copper. It also means lower latency for all those AI tasks because fiber optics can send data far faster than copper, allowing faster communication between the hundreds of thousands of GPUs in an AI data center that need to act as one to execute AI workloads.
But being an important company doesn't automatically make it the best investment. So let's run Corning and 2 other companies through the AI Factory 5-star system and see how they score. So Corning is the absolute leader in the space. The company has become one of the biggest AI infrastructure stories of the year. The stock is trading at $253 around today, June 30th. PE ratio is 121.99, which is extremely high. Revenue is at 15.2 billion, which is 22.6% year over year. The gross margins are 35.9%. Operating margin is 21.6%. Net income is $2.98 billion, up 52.3% year over year. Has a free cash flow of $2.61 billion. Cash equivalent of 1.35 billion. Has a total debt of 4.18 billion and a debt to equity of 0.34. The ratio current rating is an A minus S&P. The bull case is expanding AI factory demand, major hyperscaler partnerships, and America's growing investment in domestic fiber manufacturing. The bear case is equally straightforward. The stock has already had an incredible run. Valuation has expanded dramatically, and expectations are now much higher. So let's look at the 5-star system. Here is the 5-star system. Market opportunity. AI factories are creating unprecedented demand for optical fiber as GPU clusters continue to expand. And market opportunity gets 5 out of 5 stars. Competitive moat. Corning remains America's largest optical fiber manufacturer with decades of manufacturing experience, and it gets 5 out of 5 stars. Financial strength. Revenue and margins continue improving, although this remains a capital-intensive manufacturing business, and it gets 4 out of 5 stars. The valuation. After a massive rally, investors are paying a premium for future AI growth, and it gets 2 out of 5 stars. Future catalysts, 5 out of 5 stars. Amazon, Meta, NVIDIA, and expanding U.S. manufacturing, 5 out of 5. And now you have the risk. Execution risk remains low, but expectations are extremely high, and that gives Corning, so risk is 4 out of 5. That gives Corning 25 out of 30 points, as Corning remains the leader in fiber optics. Amphenol trading at $177 today, June 30th. If Corning's building the highway, Amphenol builds many of the connections that make that highway work. Every AI factory requires connectors, cable assemblies, and high-speed interconnects. The company's recent growth has been remarkable. Revenue continues setting records, and AI datacom demand remains extremely strong, and orders continue outpacing shipments. The biggest risks are valuation, China exposure, and elevated expectations. As you can see, the PE ratio is still high at 50.98, not as high as Corning. It has a dividend of 25 cents. The market cap's at 218 billion. Has revenue of 14.71 billion, up 36% year over year. Gross margin 41%. Operating margins 22%. Net income is 4.26 billion, up 58% year over year. Has free cash flow of 2.26 billion, cash equivalent of 2.64 billion. Its debt is 10.26 billion. That's a lot of debt. And debt to equity is 1.02. Now let's run it through the AI factory 5-star system and see what happens. Market opportunity. Every AI factory needs thousands of high-speed connections and it gets a 5 out of 5. Competitive moat. Amphenol's broad connector portfolio creates a powerful competitive advantage and it gets 5 of 5 stars. Financial strength. Record revenue, strong execution, and outstanding AI demand, and it gets 4 out of 5 stars. Has a lot of debt at 10 billion. Valuation is 3 out of 5. The stock isn't cheap, but growth continues supporting premium multiples. Future catalysts, AI networking, hyperscaler spending, and recent acquisitions, and it gets a 5 out of 5 stars. And then you have the risk, 4 out of 5 stars. China's exposure and valuation remain the primary concerns. So overall, Amphenol earns a 26 out of 30. And this is the growth pick. Best positions for high growth in the AI infrastructure era. Now, the third company takes a different approach, TE Connectivity, TEL, which is trading at $201 today, June 30th. TE Connectivity doesn't manufacture the fiber. Instead, it helps connect, manage the growing network inside the AI factories. As fiber deployments continue increasing, reliable interconnect solutions become increasingly important. And the company combines AI infrastructure with industrial automation, electrification, and transportation, which creates a more diversified model. Now, this company actually has the best price to earnings ratio, PE ratio, 20.58, which is very solid. Revenue 16.1 billion, gross margins 37%, operating margins 18%. Net income is 12% year over year at 2.86 billion. Free cash flow is 14% plus year over year at 2.54 billion. Cash equivalents 1.55 billion. The total debt, a lot of debt, $7 billion, and debt to equity is 0.71. It does have a quarterly dividend of 78 cents and a dividend yield of 1.55%. All right, now let's run it through the AI factory 5-star system. Market opportunity. AI infrastructure continues to create long-term demand for connectivity solutions, and it gets 4 out of 5 stars. Competitive moat gets 4 out of 5 stars. A broad product portfolio and long-standing customer relationships support durable competitive positioning. The financial strength of the company, strong cash flow, share repurchases, and dividend growth, and it gets 4 out of 5 stars. Future catalysts, AI, industrial automation, and electrification, and it gets 4 out of 5 stars. Risk. The risk is a diversified business, reduces volatility, and also limits pure AI upside. It gets 4 out of 5 stars. So for a value pick, it is 25 of 30. This is messed up. All right. For future catalysts, AI data center demand, price actions, automation, industrial growth, it gets 4 out of 5 stars. The valuation, reasonable valuation compared to peers, but some DCF models show premium, and it gets 3 out of 5 stars. The financial strength of the company, strong free cash flow, disciplined capital allocation, solid balance sheet, 4 out of 5 stars. And the risk is cyclicality in auto and industrial, macro risks, and execution of pricing strategy, and gets 3 out of 5 stars for a total of 20 out of 30 stars. It's a value pick, strong fundamentals, attractive valuation, and is built for the AI era. Along with the market opportunity, 4 out of 5 stars, AI infrastructure, electrification creates strong multi-growth tailwinds, 4 out of 5. You get a competitive moat, broad portfolio, global scale, and long-standing customer relationships, 4 out of 5. And then financial strength. This is what's so interesting about the AI factories. Not one single company builds artificial intelligence. It's built one layer at a time. Fiber optics, connectors, networking, GPUs. Every layer matters, and every bottleneck creates opportunities. As always, I've researched more companies than I could fit in today's video. And in the week's AI Factory research notes, in this video's AI Factory's research notes, I've ranked 5 additional fiber optic companies, explained why they did or did not make today's video, and included my complete ecosystem rankings. So if you want to go deeper, those notes are available to members on buymeacoffee.com. So today we followed the fiber optics. Next time we're going to follow the light, because fiber optics is only half the story. Someone still has to create the photons, and that's where the next AI factory begins. Appreciate y'all watching, and this is not financial advice, and it's entertainment purposes only, and we'll see you in the next one.